Hello and welcome to another live stream. There may have been a little echo there, I don't know. But join me today. It's January 7, 2025. So I talk a little bit about the melodic minor scale. Today, released a podcast last evening talking a little bit about it, and I created a quick lesson video this morning, which I plan to release tomorrow morning alongside a shorts video. So I will talk a little bit about melodic minor today. I'll just kind of take your questions. I've been experimenting a little bit with the time of day and the days of the week as far as live streaming. And thinking, 12 o'clock could be a good time for folks, at least on the East Coast. Take a lunch break, have a little jazz guitar hang here. Okay, a little noodling there on all the things you are. Classic tune. Let's talk about the melodic minor scale a little bit and some perspectives on that. So the podcast that I released yesterday was really kind of all about, perspective and how things change over time. So when we think about melodic minor, there are a few, or maybe a couple of contexts that you might try to consider. If you're exploring modal music, you can explore the different chord scales and get a sense for how each one of those sound, and maybe the different moods it offers as it as sort of a palette of tones. But in tonal music, it really offers a lot of solutions to various, musical problems, right? So, and also just for sounds that you might want to have. So, for example, if you're in a key of C major, right, and you've been playing a little on Mixolydian, right? You might start to want to have different sounds for a 5/1 rather than, kind of see if you can, maybe create some different lines and some variety. So that's where one of the modes in particular comes in really nice and handy, which is the altered scale. So rather than, doing something like, you do something like, and that just kind of creates a little extra tension to the sound, or just a different kind of color in a sense. So that's an offering there of the melodic minor, the use of one of the modes. Now, when you go to practice that, it may not be quite as beneficial, to like say, okay, I'm going to practice A flat, melodic minor, because that feels a little removed from the context of what we're achieving, right? Let's say stay right direct to G as a dominant seventh type chord, even though it's kind of the same note collection. We're seeing things and hearing things from the perspective of the G. So if you say, think about too many steps, then you're not as direct to the sound. So when it comes to playing, this is really kind of instantaneous. So in your practice, you want to try to keep it as light as possible. So you think G, think relative to G as a dominant seventh type chord, and think about its kind of extensions to that. Now, let's say we have, I don't know, a chord progression that goes from a, well, let's say it ends up on the flat 7 in the key of C. Then we might also use melodic minor to help us out with that. So that's going to be a lot like the Lydian, or not, in the sense that we'll have the sharp 11, okay? But it's going to be different than Lydian in that it has a flat 7. So sometimes this is called, or is commonly called, Lydian dominant. So you have the flat 7 of Mixolydian, and you have the sharp 11 of the Lydian. So it kind of creates a little hybrid between those two. Okay, thanks for joining. Yeah, I'll play a little bit of improvisation. So this is an improvisation topic live stream. So in general, I'll be doing some some improvisation, but if there's a particular topic that you're interested in that respect, do let me know. But yeah, I'll play a little bit. Okay, noodling a little bit there on Solar by Miles Davis. This gives us really a lot of opportunity to play with the melodic minor scale, for sure. And another thing, as I go ahead and talk about this a little bit, we want to kind of, I would say, just avoid the perspective of plug and play. So I may mention some scales, but it's not like it has to be that one scale over this one chord, right? So I'll just give you some ideas of what I was maybe playing around with a little bit there. So on the C minor, couple chord options here. Maybe C minor 6, C minor major 7. We can hear that the tune, starts out with that kind of sound. So we do have a minor chord. We hear in the melody that we have a minor major 7. So, right, so that's a good offering there, a good maybe tone to start with. The minor 6 is also a nice option as well. The tune starts to go into go to the 4 chord, right? So anytime you're playing a 5 chord, the altered scale is just really nice. So let's back up a little bit. So back to that whole C minor. So C melodic minor, and check out the video I plan to release tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to turn on notifications. I've been thinking about doing some little quick lessons without notifications, not to overwhelm folks with too much content, but let me know if you have any opinions on that. Okay, so minor major 7, and then we get into going a little too 5 here. 5 of the 4 chords, so we have right. So we can think about that altered scale on that before we go to the 4. All right, I'll take a quick minute here to encourage folks to like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. And check out the description below. I've got a link there to a page that describes our upcoming member area on fretprints.com. So I'd love for you to join that and join the email newsletter, and you get a free course Foundational Studies, which takes you through some very basic things that you can build on. Having a really strong foundation is super important. Just like a building, having that foundation solid, you can build a tall building. Just like we can all become really, good players and proficient at this art form and this instrument. But very important to build that strong foundation. So check out that link, or you can visit forprince.com directly. Okay, so the altered scale is gonna really help us out, quite tremendously in general. And so that's going to be a really nice go-to sound, especially if you feel like you've got mixolydian going, you're kind of in there with the sound a little bit, and you want to spice things up a little bit, add some color to the sound. Thanks, Jeffrey, for joining. Hello, how's it going? So Melody Senja, thanks for joining. Teach me how to play arpeggios. Yeah, so arpeggios, and then I'll get to our next comment as well. Arpeggios are simply tones from that you would typically play as a chord, but they're separated. So one of the easiest ways is to take a chord that say C major, and simply separate them out. So that's an arpeggio. Now, oftentimes when we're playing lines based on arpeggios, we're not letting those ring out as much. So you can silence each tone as you go so that they don't overlap. But even, more control on that would be to avoid some of the open strings and to play and be able to play them in different positions, right? So you can do that all by sound, but you can also study caged. C, open A, open G, open E, open D, and then you're back to C, open C. This can be really, really super confusing for folks. So caged, the letters of that C, A, G, E, D, each letter represents an open chord, basically. So open C, open A, open G, open E, and open D. So the handy thing about that is that if you've been playing guitar with open chords, then you use that knowledge to move up the neck. So that can definitely help with arpeggios. So an arpeggio, anything 3 notes or more, so then you can add the 7 and all that. I hope that does help. If you have any more questions, let me know. So Arintiba says, can you teach one finger exercise? So one finger can be really helpful because you can get to know how to play different positions and move around the neck. So one thing I would do for there is pick a tone. Maybe start real low, and then just play a number of tones, and then see if you can play chromatically. So just gonna move up and down the neck with a one finger kind of exercise. That could be A good way to really kind of understand the guitar neck. You could play arpeggios with a single finger. It's not, so practical as far as playing. It's not as efficient, but you could, kind of combine the earlier talk to playing arpeggios with one finger, and that way you're kind of breaking out of all these hand positions. You're rapidly moving around to different positions. That could be really helpful. Do I do Canon and D? I may have recorded that at some point. Recorded so many things at this point. But you may want to revisit that at some point. I do have a classical channel, which I don't put a lot on. I only have a few videos. But this particular channel is a little more geared towards improvisation. So I'm going to do a little more playing here, and think of any questions that you have. Let me know. This is kind of intended to be somewhat of a question and answer hangout here. So, and I'll mention I'm streaming vertically and horizontally. So if I am talking to someone on the chat, that's the reason why you're not seeing that chat. So, so just keep that in mind. So I'm keeping my eye on two chats, but I haven't heard any from anybody on the horizontal yet. So, but the folks are watching, so join me there. Yes, this is an Ibanez. You probably can't quite see the headstock on here. Yes, Ibanez AS200. I believe it's from 2017. I've thought a bit about guitars and all this, and I've just come to think that I think for the time being I'm going to record almost everything on this guitar and maybe that guitar, and then some of the steel string, like travels. I did a video on travels, did some slow playthroughs on this steel string. Done some Brazilian things on this one. I'm not wild about the recording. I've got to kind of get maybe a slightly better setup for recording acoustic. Actually, I think the acoustic recording on the travels went pretty well, but a lot on guitar is just a little bit, electric guitar is a little easier. I just plug in direct. So kind of smooths out the whole system. I'll noodle a little bit here. Maybe play some arpeggios as I go. I'm going to mute my mic as I do this. playing around there a little bit with Autumn Leaves. Let's see. Vic Morrison. Thanks for joining here. Yes, yes, we talked about that a minute ago. Sorry I didn't give your name at that time. Okay, let's see. Could tell I bought an artist in the 80s from George Thorogood. Really? Wow, that's pretty cool. He was playing at a club and didn't want it. Wow. I traded him your $335, some cash. Huh. That is a really interesting story. But you have the story. That's worth something. That's kind of cool. I mean, just to even meet him. I mean, that's what kind of price can you put on that? That's pretty cool. But yeah, 335 and yeah, I mean, some of those guitars have become worth so much. It's wild. I was mentioning, I think, in the previous live stream that that I watched the Norm's Rare guitars. So it's really incredible, mind-boggling how expensive some of those vintage instruments are. Yeah, but I do have some regrets myself. But that's just the nature of it, I suppose. But I'm really happy with this. It's versatile and sounds, I think, pretty good. Jeffrey says, Vic, I heard I Drink Alone on the radio in Philly yesterday. Awesome. Very cool. But I like Ibanez. I feel like the pricing is pretty reasonable. The quality seems consistent, and you know, they have a lot of different levels of instruments for, you know, price points and stuff. So and all that. So yeah, but I think it's pretty nice. I mean, it sounds good. I've never really kind of even maybe played a guitar where I was just, you know, kind of thinking this is like the one, or this one is particularly special. So maybe I haven't played enough guitars, but I do have some that I definitely like, and this one is pretty good. It took a little getting used to on this one, but I didn't have such familiarity with so much of the neck out from the body. So I put out a post, I think about a week ago, asking folks about the time of day on the live streams, and just to maybe get some feedback on that here live. I'll talk a little bit about that. It appeared that folks weren't too much into the afternoon time. So right now I'm kind of at noon. So so not so much afternoon, but more like evening and all that. So thinking, you know, I may do some late night ones and maybe some noontime ones. Morning seems kind of okay for some folks. But experiment here a little bit. I'd like to get on a schedule where folks can really kind of expect when to see me and all that stuff like that. Okay, I don't have a tune quite lined up yet for my next video, but I have some ideas. A few things I'd like to do. I don't know if I've done Alone Together. I'd like to do Alone Together. I did All of Me not too long ago. I have an Autumn Leaves video. I think I'd like to redo Black Orpheus or Magna de Carnaval, and which I may do on the nylon string as well. Cantaloupe Island is one of my biggest videos out there, so check that out. I thought I might do a additional video on that, just kind of going over the chord changes and stuff. So we may get into all that. But yeah, I've got to cross my list here and see what I have done and haven't done, and I'm also working to update some of the old ones. Afternoon in Paris. Request for Afternoon in Paris. I'll put a little asterisk on that. I do have that on my list here. Maybe I'll change the color of that one. A little block. I have a little spreadsheet going here. So good suggestion. I was kind of thinking maybe I'll do a little bit of a more standard type tune next, because I did most recently. I did Clockwise, which is a blues, and did Footprints not too long ago, and I think, and then before that, I may have done All of Me, which of course is a good standard tune. Hey William, how's it going? I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty okay. Yeah, happy belated New Year. Actually, it's funny. I was just thinking today, like, when is the official cutoff on saying Happy New Year? So I think it's fair game today. It's the 7th. Yeah, so happy belated New Year. And yeah, so I'm excited for things moving ahead. I'm really doing a push to get more videos out there and really grow this channel up and get to know all you folks more and more. Let's see, Vic suggests pork pie hat whenever a sax set in. Yeah, that's a great one. I did do a video on that one. That's an old one. I mean, of the ones I've done. So I may have taken it off. I don't know. I'll write that in. Yeah, that would be a good one too. One thing that I'm, kind of considering as well is when I do the melody videos, to like All of Me, just play it really, not interpret it. Really kind of play it faithfully to maybe a reference of like a singer, which is what I did on that one. So yeah, Jeff Beck's pork pie hat. Yeah, I believe I've listened to that one before. Hey, Vic Morrison, thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. I'll be back live streaming here on Thursday. I haven't figured an exact time. So Bohemian Rhapsody. I've taught that one a few times. I've taught the guitar parts to that, but it's not one that I'm going to play on the spot here. And this live stream is really geared towards improvisation and you know, any kind of maybe chord kind of things too, because when you're playing rhythm guitar, that's improvisation as well. I mean, depending on what you're playing, but if you're comping behind a soloist, you know, in a sense, you are improvising there. So I wrote down some of these suggestions. Thank you for those. Rick Emmett. Rick Emmett. Checking out his website here. I'll have to do some listening. From Toronto, possibly. Known as rock guitarist, his style incorporates rock, blues, jazz, classical, bluegrass, flamenco techniques. That's pretty diverse. In 2005, he won the Canadian Smooth Jazz Award for Guitarist of the Year. Awesome. Also a singer. Sounds like. Very cool. Emmett and guitarist Dave Dunlop formed the duo. I'm finding this on Wikipedia. Strung Out Troubadours. That's a cool name. And won Album of the Year. Canadian Smooth Jazz Awards. I'll do some listening. I am not all that familiar. Very cool. Yeah, probably one of the most underrated rock guitarists of all time. Very cool. Yeah, I'll do some more listening. Thanks for that. Okay, thanks, Vic, for joining in. Actually, I'm gonna be here just about 5 more minutes, so and I'll leave this up for replay if you want to come back in. But yeah, thanks for joining in. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Good to see you here. Oh, guitars for the rock band Triumph. Very nice. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm going to do a little more playing, but think of any questions that you may have and let me know. And so I'll mute my mic again here and play around a little bit. right. Yeah, William, take care. See you around next time. Gonna wrap up here. Any last minute questions? Let me know. Any way you can play Wicked Game. I think if I'm thinking of the same tune, that's a pretty cool tune. I'm not gonna do requests necessarily on this chat or this live stream, but more like maybe requests in the sense of maybe improv concepts, things like that. So, but thanks for joining in. Yeah, this live stream is the Guitar and Improvisation live stream hosted by Jim Ellis. Thanks for joining. Metal version of their song. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that there are all these tunes and things, like famous tunes, and they can be done with these different feels and different sort of genres. I've heard some Michael Jackson tunes, done as a kind of a metal or hard rock kind of feel about them, or sound, and other things too. So it's really interesting how music is changing, and the consumption of music is evolving. Hard to say where it's going, what it's doing, but interesting. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. And visit my website, fretprince.com. Join the email list and receive the free gift of the foundational exercises. Not exercises, sorry, foundational studies for guitar. So a really good spot to just make sure you're firmed up on some of the more foundational things involved with that. So thanks, Jeffrey, for joining the horizontal, should we call that desktop live stream, or horizontal, I don't know. But thanks so much, Jeffrey, for listening and watching. Okay. All right, so thanks for joining, Fuzz Driver. All right. So, all right, everybody. Well, I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session. See you all later.